Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into a story that peels back the layers of everyday life to reveal a hidden battle, one fought with dignity against the sharp edges of prejudice. Imagine walking into a place where you feel you belong, only to be told through a cutting glance or a whispered word that you don't. This isn't just a tale about a luxury boutique or a misunderstanding. It's a powerful narrative of resilience, self-respect, and the unwavering strength of family, especially when confronted with baseless judgment. We're going to follow Maya Rodriguez, a brilliant young woman stepping into her own, only to face an ugly truth that still lingers in our world. Get ready, because this story isn't just something to listen to. It's a mirror, a lesson, and a reminder that standing tall in the face of injustice is a universal act of courage. The aroma of freshly ground coffee from the corner bistro usually filled the air of downtown Atlanta. But today, another scent dominated the crisp, clean elegance of high fashion wafting from elegance and thread. For Maya Rodriguez, a brilliant and ambitious 17-year-old, stepping into that boutique wasn't just about finding a dress. It was about claiming a piece of her future. Her heart thumped with a rhythm not from apprehension, but from the quiet thrill of independence. This wasn't a shopping trip dictated by her father's busy schedule or her mother's impeccable taste. This was hers. You see, Maya's father, Marcus Rodriguez, was no ordinary man. He was the visionary CEO of Infinite Solutions Group, a tech behemoth whose innovations shaped industries across the nation. Marcus had always instilled in Maya the importance of forging her own path, of making her own choices. Today he was half a continent away, navigating high-stakes deals in Silicon Valley, leaving Maya to embrace this precious slice of autonomy. It was a proud moment for her, a quiet assertion of the woman she was becoming. Elegance and thread itself was a sanctuary, a hushed world of silk and shimmer. Sunlight filtered through tall windows, illuminating racks of designer gowns that seemed to whisper promises of glamour. Maya, usually so at ease in the bustling world of tech conventions and charity galas, felt a different kind of thrill here. She glided past shimmering sequins and soft velvets, her eyes alight with the thrill of discovery. She had a specific vision in mind, an emerald green gown for the upcoming Innovation Gala, an event her father hosted annually, a testament to his groundbreaking work. This wasn't just a party. It was a symbol of their family's journey, a celebration of dreams built from the ground up. As she reached the back of the boutique, a dress shimmered into view. The exact shade of green she'd imagined cascading like liquid moonlight. A smile touched her lips. This was it. This was her moment. But just as she reached out, a shadow fell. Not literal darkness, but a sudden chilling shift in the air. A woman impeccably dressed, but with an aura of brittle superiority, had appeared almost silently beside her. This was Eleanor Vance, a woman whose eyes held a subtle, unsettling glint, the kind that assessed and dismissed in the same breath. Eleanor's gaze lingered on Maya for a fraction too long, a flicker of something unreadable, yet undeniably cold. It was a fleeting moment, a mere whisper of unease amidst the elegant calm, but it was enough to subtly shift the atmosphere. Little did Maya know, this seemingly innocent encounter was the first tremor of a storm about to break, threatening to shatter not just her peaceful afternoon, but her very sense of belonging. The spark of independence she felt was about to be interrupted in a way she could never have foreseen. Maya glided into the fitting room, the emerald gown a cascade of silk in her hands. As she slipped it on, the fabric kissed her skin, settling perfectly. She admired herself in the mirror, a surge of quiet confidence blossoming within her. This wasn't just a dress. It was a feeling, a tangible symbol of the woman she was becoming. She imagined herself at the Innovation Gala, not just Marcus Rodriguez's daughter, but Maya, a young woman with her own ambitions and grace. But as she stepped out, that comfortable bubble of independence began to deflate. It started subtly. As she browsed for accessories, a sharp, almost imperceptible cough sounded from just behind her. She turned, and there was Eleanor Vance again, feigning interest in a display, but her eyes cold and assessing darted from Maya to the dress, then back to Maya. It was a familiar feeling, one that whispered of judgment of assumptions made before a single word was spoken. A few minutes later, as Maya considered a delicate silver necklace, she overheard Eleanor's voice, carefully modulated to be just loud enough for nearby customers to catch. "Honestly, they're letting just anyone in these days. I hope they're keeping a close eye on the inventory." The words weren't directed at Maya, but they hung in the air, thick with unspoken meaning. It was the insidious nature of microaggressions. Little cuts that sting designed to make you feel like you don't belong without ever having to explicitly say it. It's a common tactic, isn't it? To make you question yourself, your right to simply exist in a space you're entitled to be in. Maya's jaw tightened, but she refused to give Eleanor the satisfaction of a reaction. She took a deep breath, reminding herself of her father's words. "Dignity is your strongest shield." Still, the unease persisted. She picked up a small clutch, a perfect match for the gown, and felt Eleanor's presence loom closer. "That's a rather bold choice for someone just browse, isn't it, dear?" Eleanor's voice was a saccharine sweet tone, dripping with condescension. Maya turned her gaze steady. "Thank you. I think it's perfect for my dad's event." Eleanor's fake smile thinned. "Oh, is it? Are you quite sure you're in the right store? This isn't exactly budget-friendly, you know. Perhaps a more affordable establishment would be more suitable." Maya felt a familiar tightening in her stomach. She'd encountered rudeness before, but this felt different. More targeted, more cruel. "I'll let my purchases speak for themselves," she stated, her voice firm, refusing to be intimidated. She saw other customers glancing over their whispers, beginning to fill the boutique. From a distance, she noticed the store manager, a relatively new hire named Sarah, watching the exchange. Sarah looked uncomfortable, a mix of apprehension and uncertainty etched on her face. It was the look of someone caught between two forces, unsure of whether to intervene or to simply wish the problem away. This hesitant inaction, Maya knew, was often as damaging as direct hostility, leaving the victim feeling isolated and unsupported. Eleanor, emboldened by the manager's inaction, and the growing audience, smirked. "Well, don't worry, I will," she said, turning sharply towards Sarah. "I've been observing that girl, and I'm quite sure she's slipped something into her bag." The accusation hung in the air, a venomous cloud. Maya's heart sank, not in fear, but in a surge of indignant disbelief. This wasn't just rudeness now. It was an outright lie, a direct assault on her character. The slow burn of prejudice had just ignited into a public blaze. And as Sarah, visibly flustered, started to approach, Maya knew the real battle was just beginning. "Excuse me." Eleanor Vance's voice, now devoid of its false sweetness, cut through the quiet hum of the boutique like a surgeon's scalpel. She strode directly to Sarah, the manager, her fingers stabbing dramatically towards Maya. "I've been watching that girl," she hissed, loud enough for every lingering customer to hear, "and I'm absolutely certain she slipped something into her bag. You need to check it. Now." Maya's heart didn't just pound. It thundered against her ribs. The air crackled with a sudden suffocating tension. All eyes moments ago, idly brows snapped to her. She felt the sudden weight of their collective gaze, 1,000 unspoken judgments. It was a familiar sting, a raw nerve exposed. How many times had moments like this played out in history, where accusations born of bias were flung without a shred of evidence? Sarah, caught entirely off guard, stammered, "Mrs. Vance, what seems to be the issue?" Eleanor scoffed. Her eyes narrowed at Maya. "The issue, dear, is that she's clearly not here to buy anything. She's acting suspiciously. Check her bag." A wave of humiliation washed over Maya, bitter and scalding. But beneath it, a steel resolve hardened. "I haven't done anything wrong," she stated calmly, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "But if it will stop this nonsense, go ahead." With a dignified grace that belied the turmoil within, she unslung her elegant handbag and handed it to Sarah. The manager, clearly uncomfortable, took it with trembling hands, slowly opening it as the small crowd of customers leaned in, morbidly fascinated. Sarah peered inside, her eyes scanning the contents. After a painfully drawn-out moment, she looked up, her face etched with apology. There's nothing here, Mrs. Vance." A collective murmur rippled through the boutique. But Eleanor, fueled by an irrational fury, refused to yield. "Check again," she shrieked, her voice rising several octaves. She must have hidden it somewhere else. People like her are good at hiding things. The words hung in the air, sharp and poisonous, slicing through any lingering doubt. People like her. The implication was unmistakable, a direct, undeniable assault rooted in prejudice. This wasn't about a dress or a bag anymore. This was about something far deeper, far uglier. Maya felt a cold fury simmer. Her jaw tightened. "If you have nothing to hide," Eleanor continued, her voice dripping with triumphant sarcasm, "then why are you being so defensive?" Maya took a slow, deliberate breath, clenching her trembling hands. "Defensive," she repeated, her voice cutting through the whispers. "You accused me of stealing without a shred of evidence. That's not defensiveness. That's self-respect. And you know what else? You're doing this because of the color of my skin." A stunned silence descended. The truth, stark and unflinching, had been spoken aloud. Customers exchanged uneasy glances, some finally averting their eyes from Eleanor, their discomfort growing. Sarah, desperate to diffuse the escalating scene, stepped forward, her voice soft but firm. "I think it's best if you leave," she said, her words directed not at Eleanor but at Maya. "We don't want any more disruptions." Maya's heart plummeted. The betrayal was crushing. She had endured the prejudice, maintained her dignity, and proven her innocence only to be asked to leave. It was the ultimate injustice, the chilling reality that sometimes, even when you've done everything right, the system or those within it can still fail you. It's a bitter pill to swallow, isn't it? To be the victim and then be treated like the problem. Eleanor, a triumphant smirk spreading across her face, folded her arms. "Exactly. You're just proving my point." For a moment, Maya stood frozen, the humiliation a searing brand. But then, a quiet strength born from generations of resilience surged through her. This wasn't just about her anymore. This was about every person who had ever been judged, dismissed, or wronged because of who they were. She reached into her bag, not for an ID, but for her phone. Her fingers, though still trembling slightly, moved with purposeful precision. She brought the phone to her ear, her gaze unwavering as it met Eleanor's smug expression. "Dad," she said, her voice clear and steady, cutting through the murmurs in the boutique. "I need you to come to Elegance and Thread. There's a situation here. Something important is missing," Eleanor scoffed, rolling her eyes, completely oblivious to the impending earthquake. What Maya didn't know, however, was that her call would not only bring her father, but also unravel a truth so unexpected it would leave everyone in the boutique utterly speechless. The boiling point had been reached, and the fuse for an explosive plot twist had just been lit. A strained silence settled over Elegance and Thread after Maya's phone call. Eleanor Vance, still radiating smug superiority, chuckled dismissively to a nearby customer, probably calling her little boyfriend to come pick her up. This is precisely why stores like this need stricter policies. We can't just let anyone walk in. The customer, visibly uncomfortable, simply looked away. But Eleanor, blinded by her own arrogance, pressed on, oblivious to the subtle shift in the air, the collective unease that grew with every tick of the clock. Then it happened. A deep, resonant growl of an engine vibrated through the very foundations of the building. Outside, a sleek obsidian black SUV, its tinted windows gleaming like polished armor, glided to a silent halt at the curb. It wasn't just a car, it was a statement. The boutique's elegant chime seemed to falter as the glass doors swung open, and a towering figure stepped in first. A bodyguard, not just any bodyguard, but a man carved from granite, his sharp suit and earpiece exuding an air of quiet professional menace. His eyes, like a hawk's, swept the room, assessing, calculating. The hushed whispers in the boutique died instantly. Moments later, another figure emerged from the vehicle. Marcus Rodriguez. His tailored suit seemed to hug his broad, powerful frame with effortless authority. His polished shoes clicked with calm purpose against the marble floor, each step a deliberate statement. He didn't stride with hurried anger, but with an unshakable presence that could command a boardroom or silence a restless crowd. His face was unreadable, yet undeniably focused, like a storm gathering on the horizon. The staff recognized him instantly. Their faces just moments ago, etched with confusion and fear, now brightened with a mix of awe and palpable relief. Whispers, reverent and hushed, rippled through the boutique. "It's Mr. Rodriguez, the CEO." Sarah, the manager, visibly flustered, hurried forward, her voice a trembling whisper. "Mr. Rodriguez, we weren't expecting you today." Eleanor's dismissive smirk faltered. She watched the scene unfold, a flicker of confusion crossing her face. "Oh, good, another parent is here," she muttered, still underestimating the gravity of the moment. "That's better." But before she could say another word, Marcus strode past Sarah, his gaze fixed not on the bewildered manager, but on Maya. He moved with a measured, purposeful intent, his footsteps echoing in the suddenly silent boutique. He didn't need to raise his voice to command attention. The sheer force of his presence, his unyielding confidence filled every inch of the room. His sharp eyes scanned the hushed crowd, the flustered manager, and finally, his daughter standing tall and resolute at the center of it all. "What's going on here?" His voice, though calm, was laced with an undeniable authority, a quiet thunder that made even Eleanor flinch. She quickly recovered, assuming he was just another parent who would side with a paying customer. "Oh good, I'm glad someone's here to deal with this mess," Eleanor chirped, stepping forward, regaining her false bravado. "This girl has been causing trouble and I caught her acting suspiciously. She even tried to steal something." Marcus's expression didn't change as he listened to Eleanor's tirade, his gaze unwavering. He turned to Sarah, raising a perfectly arched eyebrow. "Is this true?" he asked, his tone deceptively mild. Sarah hesitated, clearly uncomfortable. "Well, sir," she began, her voice shaky, "Mrs. Vance did bring some concerns to my attention, but we checked Maya's bag and there was nothing in it." "Exactly," Eleanor snapped, cutting her off, her voice shrill. "But that doesn't mean she wasn't planning to take something. People like her are good at hiding things." The words hung in the air like a noxious gas, sharp and cutting. Customers exchanged uneasy glances, their discomfort growing. Sarah looked as if she wanted the floor to swallow her whole. Marcus's gaze shifted back to Eleanor, his calm demeanor unchanged. "People like her." He repeated, his tone neutral, yet piercing, a quiet storm about to unleash. Eleanor faltered, realizing she had perhaps said too much, but the damage was done. She stammered, "You know what I mean. This store is for respectable clients, and she clearly doesn't fit the profile." She pointed at Maya, her fingers shaking, as if her accusation alone could solidify her prejudiced position. Marcus stood silently for a moment, his gaze shifting between Eleanor and Maya, his face an unreadable mask. The weight of his silence was palpable, making Eleanor visibly falter. But she pressed on, convinced she was winning. "I mean, someone needs to take responsibility," she added, her voice rising as if to convince herself as much as the shrinking crowd. And then, with calm, devastating authority, Marcus finally spoke. His voice measured but sharp cut through the tension, delivering the ultimate unexpected twist. "This girl you're accusing," he said, his eyes now locked on Eleanor, "is my daughter." The room froze. It was as if time itself had stopped. The customers, the staff, even Eleanor herself, all stood in stunned silence as the weight of Marcus's words sank in. Gasps rippled through the boutique, and whispers began to spread like wildfire. Eleanor's expression crumbled in an instant, replaced by a look of pure, unadulterated shock and fear. Her mouth opened and closed soundlessly, as if she were trying to speak, but no words came out. Her usual confidence had vanished, leaving her exposed, vulnerable, and utterly, irrevocably humiliated. Maya, standing tall beside her father, didn't say a word. She didn't need to. The truth had been spoken, and the power dynamics in the room had shifted entirely irrevocably. The truth, like a blinding spotlight, had just revealed who was truly missing something here: Evelyn's basic human decency. Eleanor Vance stood frozen, her face ashen, the carefully constructed facade of superiority shattered. The grand reveal had stolen her voice, leaving her gaping silently like a fish out of water. Marcus Rodriguez, however, wasted no time. He stepped closer, his commanding presence towering over her. His voice, though still calm now, carried the weight of every unspoken injustice, every moment of humiliation Maya had just endured. You judged her without cause. He began his words deliberate, each one a precise cut. You harassed her, made false accusations, and publicly humiliated her in front of everyone here. All because of your own prejudice. He paused, letting the truth sink in, not just for Eleanor, but for every stunned customer witnessing this raw moment of reckoning. This store, he continued, his gaze sweeping the room, is for respectful clients. And you, Mrs. Vance, are no longer one of them. Eleanor blinked, as if struggling to comprehend. Excuse me. She finally managed, her voice a reedy whisper. Marcus didn't waver. You are banned from this store and every other boutique I own. The gravity of his words hit Eleanor like a physical blow. Her face flushed a deep, mortified red. She glanced around desperately, seeking an ounce of sympathy, but found none. The other customers avoided her gaze, their disapproval clear. Even the store staff, now visibly relieved, seemed unwilling to come to her defense. I didn't mean any harm. Eleanor stammered, her voice weak. Marcus's expression remained firm. You thought wrong, and now you will face the consequences. He turned to the silent bodyguard, who had been a stoic observer throughout the ordeal. Ensure she leaves. Marcus instructed, his voice calm but final. The bodyguard nodded, stepping forward with an unwavering, no-nonsense expression. Eleanor, realizing there was no escape, no way to salvage her public image, muttered something incoherent under her breath and spun towards the door. Her heels clicked loudly against the marble floor, the sharp sound echoing in the now silent boutique. As she reached the exit, she glanced back one last time, her eyes locking onto Maya, who stood tall and resolute beside her father, his protective presence unshakable. With a huff, Eleanor pushed open the door and disappeared into the Atlanta sunlight. Her once dominant presence reduced to nothing more than a cautionary tale. The other customers watched in stunned silence, some nodding in agreement, a quiet sense of justice having been served. Sarah, the manager, clearly embarrassed, stepped forward. Mr. Rodriguez, she began, her voice genuinely apologetic. I had no idea she was your daughter. If I had known... Marcus raised a hand, stopping her gently. It's not about who she is, Sarah, he said, his tone softening slightly, yet firm. It's about how you handled the situation. You listened to accusations without evidence, and you didn't stand up for her when she needed you. It's your responsibility to treat every customer with fairness and dignity. What happened here today is unacceptable, and it reflects poorly on this entire establishment. Sarah hung her head. I'm so sorry, sir. It won't happen again. It better not, Marcus replied, his gaze unwavering. This store represents my name, and I won't tolerate this kind of behavior again. Then he turned to Maya, his stern demeanor melting into profound tenderness. Are you okay, sweetheart? He asked gently, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Maya nodded, a small, defiant smile, breaking through her composed exterior. I'm fine, Dad. Thank you. I'm proud of you, Marcus said, his voice brimming with admiration. You handled yourself with dignity and grace. He looked around the now hushed boutique, then back at his daughter. This is your store, Maya, as much as it is mine. And no one has the right to make you feel otherwise. Maya's smile widened, her confidence shining through stronger than before. Together, they walked towards the boutique's back office, leaving behind a room full of stunned onlookers and a powerful, unforgettable lesson. But as they left, Maya couldn't help but wonder how many more Eleanors were out there ready to judge without reason to harm with their biases. She made a silent promise to herself. This wouldn't be the last time she stood up for what was right. This story isn't just about a dramatic confrontation in a fancy boutique. It's a powerful reminder that dignity cannot be stripped away by the ignorance of others. It's a testament to the resilience of those who face adversity and the unwavering support that family and community can provide. Eleanor's actions, rooted in her own deep-seated biases, serve as a stark cautionary tale about the harm that prejudice can cause, not only to those it targets, but to the very fabric of society. Yet Maya's grace under pressure and Marcus's decisive actions teach us that even in the darkest moments, there is always room for courage, for justice, and for the triumph of self-respect. It's a call to stand up to speak out, and to remember that true elegance lies not in designer labels but in the strength of one's character, and the unwavering pursuit of what is right. And there you have it, the journey of Maya Rodriguez, a young black woman who with grace and unyielding strength reminded us all that true value is never found in designer labels or the approval of biased eyes. It's found within. Her story and her father Marcus's unwavering stand is a powerful testament to the fact that dignity cannot be stripped away by ignorance, no matter how loud or confident that ignorance may seem. This isn't just a confrontation. It's a triumph, a vital reminder that even in the face of systemic prejudice, standing firm in your truth and having the unwavering support of those who believe in you can shift mountains. For every black person, every marginalized individual, every soul who has ever been made to feel less than, remember Maya. Remember her strength. Remember that your right to exist, to thrive, and to succeed is inherent, not granted by anyone else. If Maya's story resonated with you, if you've ever faced racism or prejudice, or if you simply believe in fighting for what's right, then hit that subscribe button right now, join our community dedicated to sharing powerful stories of resilience, justice, and courage. And tell us in the comments below, where are you listening from? And what lesson from Maya's journey struck you the most? Share your own experiences. Let's lift each other up. Your voice matters. Let's make sure stories like Maya's continue to inspire real change far beyond the walls of any boutique. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next story of triumph.